Okay, today we're here with...
My name's Joan Bernett. I'm the Visitor Services Manager for FACT.
Okay, and we're here to talk about the importance of creative arts and the role it plays in the future of a new generation of children.
Okay, so for the people that haven't been or heard of FACT, what's the centre all about and what do you have to offer?
Well, we are the foundation for art and creative technology, so it's very important that people think about the kind of art that we show. Is anything made using any kind of technology, and that might be screen-based art, it might be film, it also might be engineering, it might be computing, it might be an app, could be anything that's using technology to make something artistic or make a statement or something creative in that way.
So we've been looking into the type of events and opportunities you have here available, such as the Do Something project for 13 to 25-year-olds. What does that particular event involve and how can someone get involved in it?
We have a whole series of workshops. We have Do Something Saturdays, which means you basically come in and there will be an activity related to the exhibition that we've got on at the moment. So for the exhibition that we have at the moment, Richie Kurokawa's Unfold, that will be all around space and the universe, the galaxies. He's an artist who uses data from space to make extraordinary visual art. So the idea is you can just drop in on a Saturday and come and do something really interesting with your day, and maybe learn a new skill, but also have a look at the exhibition and maybe see that in a different way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you walk around an exhibition very quickly, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really know how to get into this.
Yeah.
So the Do Something Saturdays are about a way in, about finding your way into the artwork.
Well, there's one, because there's a new one that's down there, it's like a Japanese artist, I think it was.
That's it, that's Richie Kurokawa.
Is that the new one in?
It is, so that's going to open, we're opening 2 days' time, so we're still getting that ready at the moment. And we also have a mini exhibition in the foyer space by artist Simon McEwen, who uses data mapping. And it's an extraordinary project that he worked with a group of people with learning disability who created an artwork, and then he projected those artworks onto a massive building as part of a festival in Cork in Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's a really extraordinary piece of work. And I think why I like Simon McEwen's piece of work so much is because it's almost like the two sides of FACT. So it's really, really high tech, the data mapping side, but also the collaborative side, so working with members of the public to make an artwork.
Yeah.
So there's reports lately that are stating that creativity and the arts are being squeezed out of schools and funding by the government's being dramatically dropped. Do you think we'll ever get to the point where all creative arts have been removed from school curriculum?
No, because we'll have a revolution before then. Seriously, I think young people have to stand up for creativity.
Yeah.
And I will certainly be the first one on the barricade saying we cannot take creativity out of school.
Yeah.
Learning is about growing your creativity, really. And it doesn't matter whether your creativity is mathematic. You might be really great at maths, that's actually really good. Mathematics is really creative. Painters are actually usually quite good mathematicians because you have to be able to you have to be able to use perspective, you have to be able to figure out the golden section. If you don't know what that is, go and look it up online. All learning has creativity at the heart of it. And if you squeeze out arts and creative subjects, actually you take away from every other subject. And I think most schools would totally agree. And I think there'll come up a tipping point where they say, actually, we can't take any... We can't squeeze anything out any further. If you're a historian, you need to be able to write. You've got to be able to write clearly. That's very creative. If you're into sport and creativity is very interesting. They've been doing studies on footballers, and they've discovered that footballers, contrary to public belief, are often very, very intelligent, and they often have. Might not come across in those interviews on Match of the Day as very intelligent, but actually they usually have the best ones have really brilliant spatial awareness and a really brilliant visual perception of the world. So very interesting, not unlike people who are creative visual arts. Very interesting link. So I think the government needs to think again about saying that arts and humanities subjects are not important, because I think they're at the core of being alive.
Yeah.
I think they're about what it is to be alive.
Especially if there's like places like this that are
Yeah.
open everywhere, so there's always going to be a form of it around for people.
Yeah, you hope, because we are publicly
Yeah.
funded, so you have to fight to make sure that governments want to carry on funding places like FACT or the Blue Coat
Yeah.
or the Everman Theatre. You know, all of these things depend on public funding. The BBC, you know, is paid for out of the licence fee. Do you want to still pay a licence fee, you guys? That's a big question that's coming up on the horizon.
I do.
There's a big debate for you in school. Do you want to pay the licence fee for the BBC?
I think
Cheaper
so.
than
Yeah.
Sky?
I didn't agree with the whole BBC Three thing as well.
No.
So there's a lot more sort of creative sort of programmes on it, like Stacey Dooley's documentaries and that, obviously created by herself and all
Yeah.
that. And now it's online. Although online is like the future of
Mhm.
media and all, I didn't necessarily agree with that one.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think we see TV as something, as a bit of a collaborative thing. You sit down as a family maybe to watch TV, or a couple of friends will watch TV together. When you're online, it's a bit more individualistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have to decide. I think it's very interesting that this particular government wants to cut the licence fee and get rid of it. But everyone's happy to pay for Sky.
Yeah.
But people argue, why should we pay for the BBC? It's a bit like, well,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
what I
bargain.
thought, really. Yeah.
Biggest website in the world, fantastic radio coverage,
Yeah.
the World Service, so that you can hear news more
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
world.
Well, there was the petition for it, but that was all I ever saw of it. I didn't see anyone willing to pay for it or anything.
So there you go, the licence fee. Who's for and who against?
So as journalism students, we're using social media, this specific part of media every day, for anything from research to possible interview contacts and things like that. Would you say it plays a big part in the advertising of FACT, or have you seen a downside to it as well?
Definitely plays a massive part in how we advertise ourselves. So we have a Twitter, which is Jen@Fact. And that's interesting because it's actually our marketing manager, so it's very personal. It's a person, it's not a bot. You know, it's a real thing. We use Facebook all the time. And for the Kurokawa exhibition, Unfold, we also did some crowdfunding for part of the exhibition and raised £6,000 to pay
that's
for it.
quite big then, isn't it?
So it was really successful. It was the first time we'd done that linked to an exhibition. And that went worldwide. We had people donating to that from all over the place, a lot of American donators, which wouldn't have happened without social media.
Yeah.
So it's huge. What's the downside of that? I think it means you have to work harder to make sure that you're reaching everybody.
Yeah.
Because the thing about social media is it can be quite closed. It's people who are already following you who will get that message.
Yeah.
So how you have to have other media to reach out to people to make you follow.
Yeah.
Quite interesting that. We just had an exhibition before Christmas called Follow, which was all about social media, the pluses and minuses of how the world works with social media. So we use other things as well. We use print materials. We try and get journalists to come and cover us, so TV, radio, and we talk to our visitors downstairs. We're face to face. There's humans that you can come and talk to.
So you obviously get a lot of visitors here, not only from the UK, but from what we've seen as well, like from around the world. Do you think it's still important to create some local community-specific work as well?
Absolutely. So, you know, Liverpool is a fascinating city. It has lots and lots of pluses. It also has some difficulties. There's quite a lot of poverty in Liverpool, social exclusion. The city is changing. It's redeveloping very quickly.
Yeah.
People can feel a bit left out. So the brilliant thing about modern media is it's so democratic.
Yeah.
You're here with that little tiny camera. You know, 30 years ago you'd have had a camera that the two of you would have had to carry. You know, it's made it very quick and democratic. And so we run community projects where people can have a say. So for years and years we had a project called Tenant Spin, which was working with local housing associations to give their tenants a say. And that ran for 14 years. It's really long. At the minute we're working with ex-forces personnel. So obviously at the moment we've got a lot of people who've been through a very traumatic experience, maybe in Iraq, maybe in Afghanistan, maybe older people who maybe were in the Gulf War the first time around, or maybe even Northern Ireland. We work with them to help them express what they've been through. So that's called Veterans in Practice, and that's become a really big project.
So that one's especially because in a lot of the news lately, but I'm not getting that much help and that, so something like this obviously.
It's a very
Vital
hard
to-
world to
Yeah.
come back out
Yeah,
of the
definitely,
forces when you've experienced such extreme things,
Yeah.
to come back into
Yeah.
the quiet little world and worrying about where your fish fingers are coming from. You know, it's like completely
Yeah.
crazy. So art and health are very closely related, and
Yeah.
those projects tend to be funded through health, the sort of
Yeah.
health pathways really. Giving people a say is very good for their mental well-being. You know how frustrating it is
Yeah.
if somebody won't let you have a say.
Yeah.
Imagine that on a
Definitely.
grand scale. So it's
Yeah.
very important. And we work with local young people, we work with the elderly, with lots of projects over the years, getting much older people to embrace new technology,
Yeah.
because it's wrong. Old, dogs can learn new tricks.
Well, I'm in the middle of teaching my dad at the moment.
Good.
He's got to Google. He's got that far, so he's getting better.
Yeah, it's really important.
I was thinking about that. So, obviously, when it comes to media, it's important to stay modern and updated.
Yeah.
But even though we're constantly moving forward and looking for new things, do you think it's important to preserve old pieces of art and media? Like, just outside Chinatown, there's the rat that was
Yeah.
painted on the wall,
Yeah.
and there was a big fuss when they wanted to
Yeah.
knock it down. So, is it key and important to keep hold of all the
I
old
think
art?
it is, and I think in our field, in the field of creative technology, it's even more important because technologies change really quickly and things
Yeah.
become obsolete really quickly. And if somebody isn't keeping a record of that, they're
Yeah.
lost. So in this building, we also have a cinema. We work with Picture House, who are a separate company, but they're in the cinema here. In the projection room, we have the latest digital equipment, and we can show HD and we can show 3D, but we also have proper film projectors, and they're very rare now.
Yeah.
Most places are digital.
Yeah.
We can also show, basically standard for film back in the day was 35mm film. We can show 70mm, which is like the HD of its day.
Yeah.
And we're one of only 2 places in the country that can do that now. So it's extremely important to keep
Yeah.
hold of that. 2 places in the country outside London, I should say. Got to keep hold of it. Also with artists, they might have made an artwork in the 70s on a format that is now obsolete.
Yeah.
So we have a service where we can digitise artworks that were
Yeah.
made before digital technology.
Yeah.
So really, really important. And the poor rat, it's very interesting, isn't it, that the rat or the cat, I always thought it was a rat.
I thought it was a rat.
I always thought it was a rat. It's a symbol of Liverpool's regeneration, isn't it? Because for years and years nobody cared about that part of town, apart from us who live here, live and work here. But suddenly that became part of a regeneration. It was prime real estate, and that artwork straight away.
Yeah.
So what are our priorities?
Obviously working in this media environment means every day can be different and bring new challenges. So does this apply to your job as well?
Definitely. So even though my job, I'm probably the least technological person in this building, my job is about people, and it's about making sure everyone's safe and everyone's well and happy when they come into the building. But I've worked here 12 years, and I don't think I've had 2 days that were the same. And that's working with staff, working with our volunteers, working with the public, but also artists bringing new work in. But the public have always got something intelligent to say, and so every day you're kind of listening out for what people are going to say to you. And even just in 12 years, technology's gone so fast. I mean, when we opened this building, everything was on film, 35mm. Now, almost no films come in that format unless we're showing a retro screening. So that's completely changed. Even cameras like this.
We see majority of photographers using iPhones and that as well.
So when I first started working in this building, there wasn't an iPhone. Isn't that weird? And I think it's about 20 years since I first sent an email. So it's not that long, is it? It's only quite a short amount of time to go from writing my first little email, I just think this is going to get there, to now where I get 150 a day and I'm sick of the sight of them. Stop emailing. Not you guys, I listen to that. You can email as much as you like.
Because you said before, like, 2 days are the same, and I've been back a few times, and it's constantly changing. Like, I've been here when there was the room, the screen, and the projector on the roof, and when the exhibition room had all the sort of flash and strobe lighting in it. So, obviously, keep updated with all modern stuff that's going on. Is there any future plans for the fact downstairs, or any changes that happen?
Yeah, we evolve all the time. So you can't keep still in a building like this. We try and put as much artwork into the public areas as possible, so that it is always changing. And we physically changed the building quite a lot about 3 or 4 years ago. We won a funding award to spend £50,000 changing the way the ground floor looked, and we opened it up. Made it easier to use, all of those things. And so we keep doing that, because there are always plans to keep changing. We always joke that we haven't really got enough space for everybody who works in the building. I always say, I'm surprised when you walk past, you can't see arms and legs sticking out of it. There's so many of us. I think we'd like to expand in some way. Buildings need to stay alive, they can't stay the same. Even something, when you think about in Liverpool, say something like St George's Hall, famous, huge thing, even that evolves all the time. They've opened up some of the underground rooms to create an art gallery and stuff like that. It's fascinating. They'd be good to interview. It's an interesting place.
It's just like unlike any other city, though, isn't it? We went to Manchester to do some interviews recently, and it's just all going modern now. There's like hardly an old side to Manchester anymore. It's really good mix, isn't it?
Constantly adding stuff onto it.
It's redevelopment, isn't it? It's interesting. So in Liverpool, we've got that big argument at the moment, haven't we, about Lime Street, about how that's going to get redeveloped. So there are people who want to keep some of the old buildings because they mean so much. There's other people who just want to sweep them away because we need that investment. And so whichever side of that argument you're on, I'm sort of a bit on the middle of that argument. I think we need redevelopment, but it's a shame to lose some of the some of the things that they're going to put there don't look that interesting to me.
Needs to be a nice mix.
I think so. Otherwise you lose your character, don't you?
Exactly.
Do you have any more questions?
I think on the young generation one. So, obviously you do a lot of work with younger generation, like we saw before, you've got volunteers coming in. But is there any opportunities for older people who... Old people can volunteer too. Definitely. We, as I say, we work with much older people. When I say we're introducing older people to technology, I'm talking about people in the 70s and 80s here. I mean, seriously, old people. Because people are eager to learn, and also now it's a little bit about equality. Because if you're not accessing your bills online, you pay more. People's benefits need to be paid online these days.
Well,
All kinds of things going on.
Hit that thing recently as well. I've been applying for student finance university, and like they contact my dad for it, but it has to be over email and things like that. So we can't even apply for that anymore.
So it's really important that people are kept up to date with how old they are. And in terms of volunteers, anyone can volunteer with us as long as they're over 18. So we've got a real mix of people. The youngest at 18, the oldest is probably about 70. So that's great. We'd like more older people, but we're quite happy with lots of nice young people.
Do you want to pop in then?
Happy to be behind the camera.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I can only apologise again.
That's alright.
We normally do that. It's a bit of a surprise. Everyone kept coming out the lift, and everyone was for me. What's going on?
No, we wasn't in a rush anyway, because we had one.